Supreme Court apparently loves the idea of screwing with the American people because they made a ruling on one of their cases involving the upcoming 2020 census. In this census, the entire population of the United States, citizen and non-citizen, is counted. Once the entire population is counted, the states are given a proportionate number of not only electors but also representatives within the House of Representatives, because the House of Representatives represents every single state by total population, which is in complete contrast to the Senate, which has 2 senators for every single state, no matter how large or small its population is. So this is definitely a big important thing, because whatever state has the most electors and representatives gets to control whatever happens in Congress. This is something that apparently states like California, Texas, Florida, New York love to keep in place. In fact, they would love the idea of including a lot of new people into the population just to maintain those numbers. So that actually has led to a lot of people criticizing what's been going on in terms of the top population counting. As a matter of fact, one of the agents within the Department of Justice actually mentioned that they recommended that the United States Census include a question about citizenship. That way, they would be able to count all the people with citizenship of the United States and finally get an accurate number, thus creating a more accurate assessment on the electors and the representatives. Now, the Trump administration apparently supported that idea. After all, it definitely, in its own way, it restricts illegal immigration in a small way, because this in turn would prevent them from being overly representative in places like California and New York. But the Democrats, they apparently have this issue, and it's not just because that Donald Trump is the one who supported this sort of thing. It is like I said before. It's mainly about these large states in terms of population trying to maintain power. This is not a new discussion about large and small populations. Ever since the creation of this republic, this has been a major topic. In fact, that's why we have these 2 different chambers in Congress right now. The Senate allows the small states to have a better say in terms of lawmaking, and the House of Representatives gives the bigger states a substantial amount of power and influence. So, in the case due to this citizenship question, this would definitely put California, Texas, Florida, New York, and a few other states with very large populations in a pickle. Because if it turns out that a proportion of the citizenship, or well, not citizenship, their populations happen to be non-citizens, that would severely affect their numbers in the House of Representatives and in the electorship. And considering that the 2020 presidential election is coming up, yeah, it's a major problem for the Democrats. So they have sued it on the grounds that this may be hostile to immigrants and minority communities, which honestly I do not see why. Because this only talks about citizenship, and 2, the census applies to everyone in the United States. White, black, Asian, Indian, whatever. It doesn't really matter. So I don't see how it's discriminatory in any sort of way. So to counter this, the Trump administration tried to state that not only has this question been applied before, but it also supports the Voting Rights Act as well, and other federal enforcement of that law. So, it should be a clear-cut case. It should have been obviously that the Supreme Court should have ruled in favor of this, but for some reason, they didn't. 5-4 decision, which is completely strange to me. Now I'm gonna get into the bad news of this right now. This decision in the Supreme Court is forcing Donald Trump into a predicament, because right now there's been a lot of issuings of the 2020 census and a few other processes that he has to go through. And considering that this would mean he has to remove the question, that's going to be a big issue. But that's not the only thing. This, in turn, has caused him to try to begin a sort of back and forth kind of fight with the Supreme Court on this issue. And I will get into that with the good news. The good news is, since they said that it is not unconstitutional, but it's not the best reasoning, if Donald Trump can delay the census for just a little bit, obviously he cannot do the census like in 2 years. That would obviously be unconstitutional. It has to happen every 10 years. But if he can delay it long enough to find a very more legitimate argument to put this in place, the Supreme Court will have to look into this and then have to say, they would have to say either this is a good reason and that the citizenship question can be applied or not. So in both cases, both the Supreme Court and the President are at a standstill on this question. It's clear that from this ruling that this is not the last of we're going to be hearing about the 2020 census or even the citizenship question. It obviously isn't. In fact, there's been talk a lot about the Democratic Party, and I said this in my last video how during their own debate they literally said that they're making this a party of immigrants, not really of Americans, which is again that how they said that is really, really, really weird. Because it implies they're playing different people, a different class of people first, instead of all citizens of the United States, no matter their creed, color, gender, or sexual orientation, or whatever. The way they said that just made that completely weird. So again, I do not think we have seen the last of this citizenship question debacle, and I'm pretty sure that due to the fact that Donald Trump is delaying this action in order to get a better reasoning for this, that this will be coming to the steps of the Supreme Court again, and possibly very soon. My name is Noemi and not the Arc Truth. Please post your comments down below, like this video, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Also, if you have any criticisms about my videos, please be sure to either message me or post them down below into the comment section. Thank you.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountain.